You built it. You poured your soul into it. It was your dream. It was your passion. But lately, when you think about it, let me ask you a really personal question. Does dread just wash over you? As you think about your business, do you feel trapped? Do you feel resentful? And if you're being honest with yourself, secretly, deep down inside, do you really hate your business? It's a heavy feeling, isn't it, right? For many people, it brings out an idea of shamefulness or confusion or just feeling guilty. Because you say to yourself, I should be grateful for what I have. My blood, sweat, and tears went into this, and I'm doing well, Ralph. But the truth is, this business is draining my joy, it's draining my energy, and it's draining my spirit. And right now, as you're listening to this, you're probably thinking, I'm on this island all alone, aren't I? But let me just tell you right now, friend, this is more common than you think. And I've got an idea for a way to get you out of that. I want to transform that resentment. I want to give you renewed purpose or help you strategically walk away without losing everything. So today on the show, I'm going to talk about an unspoken truth. Yeah, that's hating your business. But more importantly than that, I'm going to give you some gritty, actionable steps to help you reclaim that passion and find peace. So stay with me because this show is for you. If you ever answered that question, Ralph, I do really hate my business. Hey, welcome back to Grit and Growth Business. I'm Ralph Esep Jr., and I'm so happy you've chosen to join me again this week. This is the show that really helps you transform that business from that daily grit and grind into growth. Now, last week, we talked about the power of your network. We talked about building those authentic relationships and how that was really your greatest asset in your business. And we talked about something way beyond just marketing. I'm going to encourage you, if you missed it, go check out episode 12. You can find all of our episodes at gritandgrowthbusiness.com. Let me tell you right now, that was an eye-opening episode. Well, this week, we're going to get even more vulnerable. We're going to talk about something that a lot of people don't want to talk about, but many entrepreneurs experience this. I said it earlier. What do you do when you hate your business? Really, what do you do when you actually hate your business? And it hits hard for some people. I know it did for me, and it happened more than once in my career. This business that started with so much excitement, it started with vision and hope. It was my baby. It was my passion project. I saw it as my way to freedom, way to get away from working for somebody else in that 9 to 5. I had my own business. But then somewhere along the way, that joy just evaporated. That passion that I felt, that daily striving, that passion just started to burn and turn into resentment. And that freedom that I sought so long to get became just a cage for me. And now, when I think about the business, maybe you're sitting there right now, you're having this situation right now. You think business and your chest just tightens. And it's just a dread for you. You've got this quiet anger. And at the same time, maybe you're feeling guilty, right? You feel like if I just close the doors, I'm going to be letting people down. You know what, Ralph? I'm just going to push through. Because I see other entrepreneurs all over the internet and all over social media. It looks like the highlight reels, Ralph, and they love what they do. And I sit there and ask myself, what's wrong with me? Why am I not grateful for this? Where along the way did I lose my passion? Where did I lose my vigor for this? Then I start asking myself a even more difficult question. Am I a failure? I bet you right now are listening, you're thinking, am I a failure because this business has just drained me? But as you're listening right now, friend, I want you to know you are not alone in this, and there's nothing wrong with you. And this feeling of hating your business, let me just tell you right now, it's more common than you might think. I deal with business clients every day when I coach people. I've been doing this for 30 years. And you don't know how many times I've worked with clients who are back in this same position of just hating their business. Now, I'm not telling you to ignore it. I wouldn't be doing this show if I told you to ignore it, but I want you to understand it's a sign. It's a signal. It's really a big flashing red signal that something needs to change. And as I alluded to a few minutes ago, I felt this same feeling in my own accounting practice, and it feels intense when it happens. I remember a couple years into building my firm, it was successful. I was doing work that I really enjoyed, but then all of a sudden something changed. And that routine just became doing work I no longer really enjoyed. I had felt like I had clients that drained me. I felt like I had trapped my creative energies. Every morning as I pulled into the office parking lot, I just felt this knot in my stomach. Yeah, the numbers were good. The business was growing, but my spirit, man, I didn't want to be there. And looking back at it, in many ways, I was just a prisoner to my own success. And that thought of another day, yeah, I'll get through today, but then another week and another year, it just led me to despair. It was this dark, lonely place. And listen, this wasn't just about being tired of the business. This was a much deeper disconnect. And for many years, for many months, I just kind of pushed through it. I just ignored it. I just kept pushing through it. Maybe you're doing that right now, but let me just tell you right now, the reason I'm doing this show today is if you don't embrace this, if you keep ignoring it, this is a recipe for burnout. It's a recipe for stagnation. And let me just tell you right now, it's a recipe for the complete erosion of your well-being. Well, now let's take a few minutes and let's talk about the hidden cost of hating your business. Hey, maybe you're there right now. You're thinking, Ralph, hey, I am so happy you did this show today because I am right there with you. I hate this business. So I want to just take a few minutes and talk about some of the common reasons. After working with people for 30 years in business, I've come up with some really common reasons of why people feel this way. But more importantly, as I go through these today, I want you to understand the painful cost of ignoring that feeling. The first one is burnout and exhaustion. If you remember, we did a whole show back in episode 6 of that. Again, you can catch all of our back shows at gritandgrowthbusiness.com. But we talked about burnout and exhaustion back in episode 6. And maybe you're feeling that right now. You've pushed too hard. You've pushed too long. But you didn't take that time for rest. You didn't set those reasonable boundaries. And time and little time over time, that passion just extinguished by just sheer fatigue. And that pain that you're experiencing, maybe you're feeling it right now. I know I felt it at times. That pain was physical. It was a tightness in the chest. It was just an absolute feeling of dread and mental exhaustion. And when you're living in that, guess what happens? You get really bad at making decisions. The decisions you're making when you're in that state of mind of physical and mental exhaustion, you hate your business. Guess what? Your decisions will be terrible. You experience complete loss of joy in your work. You're running on fumes. And your business suffers when you're not at your best. So that's one of the reasons we hate our business. We feel burned out and we feel exhaustion. Let's look at the second reason. And this one's very common as well. That's loss of purpose or misalignment with values. You might be saying, Ralph, what are you talking about here? I'm going to be very blunt with you. It's the why of your business. Why you started it in the first place. What was that passion? What was that feeling, that determination that you wanted to do this? Why did you start that business? And over time, that why just sort of started to fade away. And that business that meant so much to you, your little passion project, that baby that you birthed into life. Over time, this business has just evolved into something completely different than you ever imagined. Your why no longer aligns with you. No longer aligns with what you care about anymore. And trust me, I've felt that. And I've worked with clients who have felt that. And this pain here is just a deep emptiness. I'm talking about to the bottom of your soul emptiness. Many clients have said to me, Ralph, I felt like a fraud. I didn't have any motivation to innovate. I'm just going through the motions every day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, start again. You get the idea. I'm just going through the motions. I remember a particular client. I had this client, she owned a bakery, and she had a love for baking. I mean, the stuff she made, listen, I'm a type 2 diabetic. You steer clear of that stuff. But the stuff was amazing. But then her business started to flounder. She started to fail. Why? She lost her love for baking. She was caught up in the day-to-day, worrying about staff members, worrying about counting inventory, ordering inventory. She got to the point where she never even touched dough during the day. Think about that for a second. Somebody who had this bakery that had a love for baking. That's why they created this bakery. They got tired of working for somebody else. They wanted to do their own thing. But time after time and day after day, as the business evolved, she completely lost sight. She lost touch with the baking at all. She got so caught up in the day-to-day mundane stuff. She hated the business and she lost a connection to the passion for why she did it. That's the second thing. She lost her purpose. It didn't align with her values anymore. What mattered to her, she was no longer doing. Now, here's one that a lot of people don't want to mention, but it's the truth. Sometimes it's financial pressure and feeling trapped in your business. How many times have you said to yourself, yeah, Ralph, I'm making money, but it's not enough for the amount of time and effort I put into this. Man, I work myself to the bone. My mom used to say I'm bone tired. That's a level of tired that most of us don't experience. But imagine being that tired that you've worked yourself to the bone for what you're thinking. Yeah, I'm making money, Ralph, but it's never enough. Or maybe for you, you're completely dependent on the business. You can't pivot at all. You can't take any risk because you've got to have that minimum amount coming in. And you live in this pain of constant anxiety about money. You're worried about where that next dollar's coming from. And that resentment starts to fill itself towards your clients. It starts to build itself against your employees. In my notes today, I wrote this message right here. I said, you feel like you're stuck in a gilded cage. Yes, it's beautiful, but you're stuck. You're trapped. You're making money, but it's just not worth the effort anymore. And you're faced with a very difficult dilemma. You can't leave because you need the income. You've got bills to pay. You've got a family to support. But you realize that staying in this business that you hate is just slowly killing you day after day. It's just taking away your life force, minute by minute, hour after hour, and day by day. But you can't leave because you need the income. So that's the third thing. That's that financial pressure and feeling trapped. Here's one. We kind of talked about this on the show a week or two ago. Maybe you hate your business because you're doing tasks you despise. It's what I call the everything syndrome. Found myself in this very situation time and time again in my career. Picture this. You're still wearing all the hats. That's right. You're doing it all. You've got all the pressure is on you. And guess what? When you're wearing all the hats, you're spending a lot of time doing tasks that you just absolutely detest. You can't stand them. Maybe for you, like this baker friend of mine, she hated the administrative side. She couldn't even get to the point of touching dough. She hated. Maybe you hate sales. It's not your area of expertise. Maybe you hate marketing. Maybe you despise customer service. Yeah, you love creating the product. You love putting your hands in the dough and making great cakes and pies and breads and all that kind of stuff, man. But the marketing and customer service, you'd rather be in the back of the house. You're doing tasks every day that you despise because you've got this everything syndrome. And that pain you're living in, that is just daily frustration. Leads to procrastination. Your business is this never-ending chore list. Yeah, I got this list of stuff, Ralph. I got to check it off every day. But I hate doing this stuff. And you find yourself spending more time on what drains you. You don't spend any time on what really energizes you. And this was huge for me. One of the things that I love to do, I love to talk to clients. I love to sit there and share their dreams with them. I love to be involved in their business dreams and understanding where they're trying to go and sharing those joys of victory with them. But in my own accounting firm, man, I was just stuck doing these endless administrative tasks. And it stole the energy for the accounting and the relationship building that I so loved. So that's the fourth thing. You're doing tasks you despise. You're in that everything syndrome. That daily frustration, that daily pain, it just eats at you on a daily basis. Well, how about this one? Toxic clients or team dynamics. Hey, listen, I've been here too. Maybe you're like this right now. You feel like you've got these demanding, disrespectful clients. Man, Ralph, I hate my clients. Not only do I hate my business, I hate my clients. I don't like my employees either. I got these difficult team relationships at the office. Those two things right there can poison your love for a business. And that pain that you live in every day, that's just an emotional drain. It's constant conflict. It's the definition of a hostile work environment. Because your business is a source of dread. It's not any level of fulfillment. Does any of this resonate with you? If it does, you're not alone because these are deep, painful truths. But the first brave step you've got to take is acknowledge them. Now let's talk about how do you move past that? How do you reclaim your business for your freedom? I want to give you some actionable steps that you can take today to break free of this. I want you to stop hating your business. Now I'm going to tell you right now, as we get rolling in this, I want to be very clear with you. Nothing I'm going to talk about today is going to be an instant fix. If you tune in today because you're like, man, Ralph has got the answer, I'm going to tune in and he's going to solve my problem in 10 minutes or less. Guess what today? That's not going to happen. But if you stick with me, I'm going to help you embrace what I'll call radical honesty. because it's going to take some honesty to really unravel what's going on in your business and really answer that question, why you hate your business. I'm going to give you some strategic actions, but you've got to do one thing for me right now. You've got to embrace a deep commitment to your well-being, because I'm going to help you transform that resentment into intentionality. And I'm going to give you some concrete, actionable steps to help you reclaim your business and find that path to freedom. But you're going to have to put in the time and you're going to have to put in the effort. And hey, this is a great time to tell you there will be an action sheet just like I do for every show. So don't worry about taking notes right now. You can just stay listening. And at the end, you'll be able to download our action sheet. You can get to that by going to gritandgrowthbusiness.com/action. That's where you'll download your action sheet. So let's get into these concrete steps that you can take right now to actually stop hating your business. The first one is this: radical honesty. You might be saying to yourself, Ralph, where are you going with this? Well, here's the deal. If you really want to break free of this I hate my business mentality, you're going to have to pinpoint the why behind the hate. You can't just say, Ralph, I hate my business. I hate everything about my business. I hate my location. I hate my employees. I hate my clients. I hate what I do. You got to get specific. Now, when I say specific, I'm talking about pinpoint specific. Think about your clients. Are they draining you? Are they not ideal clients? Think about that for a second. Is that what the problem is? Is that why you hate your business? Is it the clients? What is it about them? Do they drain you? Are they not ideal? Hey, maybe it's specific tasks. You dread that daily grind. We talked about that a little bit a few minutes ago. Is it the financial pressure? You feel like you're putting all you've got into this business, but it's just not paying you enough for the effort. Hey, maybe like me and a lot of others, you feel this lack of growth. You feel like, man, I've been putting in effort, Ralph, month after month and year after year, but man, it's just not growing anymore. Maybe for you, it's a feeling of isolation. You feel like you're on this island. I mentioned this a couple episodes ago about that movie Castaway, but you really feel like you're Tom Hanks and you're on this island all by yourself. So that's the first thing I need you to do. You need to be radically honest. Pinpoint the why behind the hate. Get out a notebook and write down every single thing that contributes to that dread. Be brutally honest. Because just like you're at the doctor, you sit down with the doctor in the doctor's office and he starts asking you, okay, Ralph, tell me about your symptoms. The doctor can't diagnose you until he understands your symptoms. Well, guess what? You cannot diagnose the reasons for why you hate your business until you write down the symptoms of that. This is crucial. I'm going to tell you, for me, it was a combination of low-value tasks that I hated. I hated doing all that routine administrative stuff. I hated doing filing. I hated doing organization of client folders. I hated all that stuff. I didn't want to deal with answering the incoming sales calls all the time. I didn't want to deal with the scheduling things. Another thing for me was I found that I had a few clients that absolutely drained my energy. Just seemed like a day after week, it was like constantly this particular client or this particular client, it just drained every bit of passion that I had for my business. But the thing that I did, and the thing that you need to do right now as you're listening to this, until I was able to name those, pinpoint those things, I couldn't fix them. So it starts with that. You've got to have radical honesty and pinpoint the why behind the hate. Let's move on to the second thing that you can do right now. You've got to reclaim your zone of genius. You might be saying, zone of genius, Ralph, what in the world are you talking about? And listen, I found myself right here in this particular situation. You've got to delegate or eliminate what you despise. See, if you hate your business, here's a truth bomb right now. You probably don't hate your business. You hate certain things within your business. You got to know what you hate. But bigger than that, hey, intentions are great. I talk about that on the show all the time. It's great to know the intentions. You got to know what you hate, but then you got to take action to remove it. Think back to episode number 8 when I talked about those systems that you had to build, or maybe even the last episode, we talked about hiring. Talked about hiring and those superpowers that come from those systems and hiring. Know what you hate and take action to remove it. Maybe it's time to delegate to somebody. Maybe it's time to bring on a part-time employee. Maybe you can automate some of these things that you despise with software. Hey, here's a radical idea. Maybe you eliminate things that aren't essential anymore. I found this in my own business. When I really took a hard look at the things I was doing, when I discovered them, the systems that I was doing, I found that there was things that I could eliminate that just weren't essential, and I hated doing it in the first place. Maybe you've got to have that tough discussion about raising prices so you can bring help in. Because you've got to transform into a position where you focus on work that energizes you, at work that you excel at, where your unique value lies. Let me tell you right now, I was able to finally get to that point when I hired a part-time administrative person. And what I did was I started taking all those tasks. I had that list. I started taking those tasks I hated and giving them to that part-time administrative person. And guess what? That hate for my business, because it wasn't about the business, it was about the task I hated, just slowly disappeared. Now listen, the relief wasn't immediate, but the relief was immense when I was able to finally push those things off and strategically delegate those things. And what did it do? It reignited the passion and it reignited the energy for the strategic client work I loved. I could spend more time talking with clients. I could spend more time coaching clients. I could spend more time working with them to build their dreams and really see their visions come to reality. So that's really the second thing. You got to reclaim your zone of genius by delegating or eliminating those tasks that you despise. Here's the third thing. This is hard work. I'm working with a couple of coaching clients right now, and we're really focused like a laser on this. You've got to reconnect with your why. Or dare I say, maybe it's time to find a new one. Now, when I work with clients, the first thing we talk about is why you're in business. Now, if I'm working with a new client, it's a little bit easier because I can start to build their why to push them forward. But maybe you've been in business for a while. Maybe you got to go back and remember that why you started this business. What was that initial spark? It's that thing you said, oh, I'm going to go do this. No one else is doing this. I can do it better. I've got this dream. I'm going to make this impact. You got to reconnect with that. Reflect on this right now as you're thinking about this. If you hate your business, go back and remember the why of it. Because I can guarantee you, you didn't go into starting your own business with the idea that I'm going to go into business of something that I hate. Nobody I know has ever done that. But reflect on this. Here's one of the little things that you can do that has really helped me throughout my journey. When I'm feeling down about my business or I'm feeling down about what's going on with my coaching clients and all that kind of stuff, I go back and read testimonials. Maybe I'll go to my website and read about how I've impacted people. I'll look through my old files or through my calendar. Oh, I remember when I helped Sam with his butcher shop, or I remember when I helped such and such with their business. I talk to my favorite clients sometimes, and I think about, all the differences that I've made. I just had this experience the other day. I was talking with a client that I've been working with for 25 years now. It was one of those days I kind of had low energy, and just happened that he called me that day, and man, let me tell you right now, it's one of my favorite clients, and he said something to me which was just so striking me. He says, Ralph, you're the reason I'm successful. Now, I knew deep down I was just a coach. I just had my arm around this guy, helped him get to where he is. But man, that was a recharge for me. But maybe as you go do this, you start to understand that your why no longer resonates. Maybe that why that you started with just doesn't make sense anymore. Maybe it's time to really pivot that business model. Hey, I talked about this in episode 3. I'm going to encourage you to go back and check it out if you missed it. But maybe it's time that your business model just needs to change a little bit. Maybe you need to develop a new or more fulfilling purpose in your business. Because sometimes it's not the business that you hate, it's the business version that you're running right now. See, for me, my initial why was all about helping small business people thrive. I saw that the excitement of somebody that had been working for somebody else in that 9-to-5 job, and then they decided to go out on their own and they built this small business. And I just really was gassed up by that. I just loved working with people who thrived. But over time in my accounting practice, I found that I got bogged down dealing with compliance. Hey, those things are important. Doing taxes, doing payroll reports, all those things, financial reports, they're all important, but it got me really feeling this feeling of being bogged down in compliance. And that's why about a year or two ago, I really started shifting my focus to business coaching. It helped me reconnect with my core purpose, and that passion that I talked about came flooding back. Right now, as you're listening to this, maybe you're finding yourself in that same position. That why that fueled your passion just doesn't exist anymore. Start asking yourself, how do you get to that new why? What is it that makes you want to get up in the morning? maybe it's time to pivot your business to really reconnecting with that why, or like I said, maybe it's time to find a new one. Here's another idea for you. I'm going to say this to begin with. There's no shame in changing course. Sometimes a solution is to not fix it in the first place. This is a time to have a real difficult discussion about strategic pruning or pivoting. Sometimes in a business, it's no longer serving you. You got to let go of what's toxic. Now, maybe for you, it's not completely selling the business and closing shop and going and doing something else. Go be a bartender on some island or something like that. But maybe for you, you got to start thinking about firing some draining clients. Listen, I've done this in my own practice. Now, once a year, I go back and I think over the past year. I usually do this in the fall of the year. I start thinking about what are my problem clients. And listen, if you're listening right now, you're one of my clients. Guess what? You weren't one of those problem clients because you're still a client. But in business, sometimes, see, when we first start off in business, we want to get everybody. We want everybody to be a client. We're trying to build that business. We want to set the world on fire. But over time, sometimes we realize that there are particular clients that are draining us. Well, guess what? There's no shame in getting rid of those people. Just send them a simple letter, give them a call and say, hey, listen, I just don't think we have a good connection anymore. Let me tell you right now, I've done that in my own practice. That is one of the most liberating things that you can ever do. If you've got a client that's draining you, that's no longer, you don't longer have the passion for them, it's okay to say to them, look, this isn't working anymore. They may not take it well, but too bad, it's your business. Maybe for you, it's not the clients, but maybe you've got some unprofitable, soul-sucking services that you just don't want to do anymore. I don't know how many clients I've worked with over the past 30 years who have said, Ralph, I was doing this. I really hate doing this service. I'm going to go learn a new skill. It's in the same business, but I'm not going to worry about that stuff anymore. Listen, I'm working with a guy right now, a plumbing business. One of the things he said to me as he's getting started, he said, Ralph, I don't want to do new construction. I did that for a contractor I worked for before. I'm starting my own business. I don't want to be involved in that. He already knows he doesn't want to get into that unprofitable area. Well, maybe right now you're looking at your business. You're like, Ralph, I really hate doing this work. I love doing this kind of work. For me, here's a great example of that. I love doing coaching work. I love sitting down and talking with potential clients or people who have been in business for a while and helping them transform their business into something they love again. If you want to work with them, I'll talk a little bit later in the show, but I coach people. If you feel like you're trapped right now in your business, reach out to me. I'll talk about how to do that here in just a few minutes. But it's okay to say, look, this isn't working. Discontinue those unprofitable, soul-sucking services. Maybe it's time for a strategic pivot. Maybe that the business you built for 20 years or whatever that looks like for you just doesn't fit into the new economy anymore. Maybe there's a new niche. Maybe there's a new business model you can follow. And yes, all the things I've talked about right now are scary. Yes, they scared me to death when I started thinking about I can do things beyond the day-to-day stuff. Maybe you bring somebody in to handle those routine, mundane tasks that you hate doing. Yes, it's scary. But let me ask you this question. Does staying stuck in misery feel scary as well? Because to me, staying stuck in misery is scarier than taking that risk. This is time to courageously choose your well-being. Because listen, if you don't, you are going to break down both mentally and physically, and then you won't have a business to worry about anymore. I'm going to say, I said this at the beginning of this section, there's no shame in changing course. If your current path is leading you to misery, you got to take that gritty step and know when to pivot. So that's why I said there's no shame in changing course. Explore those strategic pruning or pivoting. It's okay to do that. Listen, friend, hating your business is not a life sentence. But what it is a powerful signal. It's a call to action. It's an invitation to be radically honest about where you are right now and start making some courageous decisions to reclaim your joy, to reclaim your energy, and hey, to reclaim your purpose. Because I know this deep down. You had the grit to build this, but now you got to apply that grit to build the business that you truly love or find your path to freedom. And if this episode resonated with you today, and you're thinking, Ralph, yeah, I got this heavy weight. I do have this silent dread. Ralph, yes, I truly do hate my business. Maybe right now you're tired of doing it alone and you're trying to escape that feeling of doing it by yourself. Well, I'm going to invite you right now to take a deeper step. Listen, this podcast gives you great strategies. We talk through every week about the concrete things that you can do. But for some people, sometimes you need that personalized guidance to really get you to that next level. You need to work with somebody who's been there, who understands your unique challenges, and to really help you. We talked about diagnosis. We talked about sitting in the doctor's offices. You need help to somebody to help you diagnose the root cause of that resentment that you're feeling and guide you step by step to reclaim that passion. Or maybe it's about strategically pivoting to a point of peace in your life. Imagine this, if you will, having that trusted advisor in your corner, helping you identify those draining tasks, helping you build systems that free you and help you listen to me, help you reconnect with your why, or maybe develop a new why to courageously explore a new direction. Well, that's exactly what I offer with my coaching services. Hey, are you ready for one-on-one support? Are you ready to stop feeling trapped and start building with a clear, proven path to fulfillment? I want to encourage you right now. Explore my coaching services. And listen, this isn't about me telling you what to do. It's about us working together, side by side, arm in arm, to unlock your next level of grit and growth. And listen to me, to truly love your business again. And I would love to talk to you. I'll give you a no-pressure discovery call. Hey, just 15 minutes, won't cost you a dime. You can go sign up or apply for that by going to gritandgrowthbusiness.com/coaching. Again, that's gritandgrowthbusiness.com/coaching. And let's talk, let's build your legacy, and let's build it together. And for everyone else that's listening today, we've had to navigate some difficult feelings today. I've given you some core strategies to employ, and I want to also share with you my action plan sheet. I talked about this at the beginning, but I created an episode action sheet that answers this question. What do you do when you hate your business? This is a free downloadable sheet that will guide you to that radical honesty we talked about earlier of diagnosing where your business is right now and helping you reclaim that zone of genius, helping you reconnect with your why, and actually exploring strategic pruning or pivoting. This is a practical tool that will help you integrate lessons into your unique path for your business. And you can download our action sheet right now by going to gritandgrowthbusiness.com/action. Again, that's gritandgrowthbusiness.com/action. I want to encourage you right now, download that action plan sheet and start reclaiming your joy today. Listen, your well-being in your business is not a luxury. I want to repeat that because you need to hear that right now. So many people think, oh, it's a luxury to be feeling good about my business. No, it's not. Your well-being is not a luxury. It's the foundation of your business. Don't ignore the signs. Have that grit to face the truth. Have that courage to change because, listen, I know this deep down. You've got this, and I'm right here walking alongside you every step of the way. So I just want to thank you for joining me today on Grit and Growth Business. Remember, our brand promise here is to empower small business owners to build thriving, profitable businesses, and that's what I want to do with you every week. I'm committed to bringing you honest conversations and practical strategies every single week to help you build business the right way. Now, next week, we're going to have another great show. We're going to talk about the 3 levels of business growth. We're going to explore how to identify where your business is now. That's important. And the specific strategies to move to the next level of expansion and, hey, move to impact. So I'm going to encourage you right now, go to our website. That's gritandgrowthbusiness.com. You can follow the show. You can download that action sheet. And as I always say, intentions are great. I've given you some great ideas today. Those are great intentions, but it's all in the action. So God bless you. I'll see you next week for more grit leading to growth for your business. Have a great week.